the Headliners podcast. I'm your host, Edward Mbeche, also the CEO and founder of Helen Superoff. I got my co-host, Coley Brim, and our special guest today is Talent.
Hold on. That's your co-host that was late?
What? Yeah, that's the Coley. He's the one who made us.
Oh, this is a real black show.
He was late. But again, we can't hear. You can't hear us. Who, me?
No. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear?
What about me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, you can hear me, or no, you can't hear me.
Yes. This guy, we nodding.
Yeah, this is yes in all the countries.
Yeah, this means yes everywhere.
I don't care where you go. This is yes.
The settings. I had the settings on some things, man. I couldn't see your faces. See?
Okay.
See, I tell you, that's probably ran into the same thing.
Where are you? If you have some time when you have like multiple window open, you might hear some feedback. So probably you just need to open one so you can have, so you don't end up having multiple feedback coming back. But anyway, welcome back again to the show. My apology, we ran a little bit late. I got my co-host Corey Brim and our guest Talent Harris. The original, actually that's it. There's no you can't say the original and then it just. That's it. New York kings of comedy, right?
Yeah, you can't listen. It's not even about a region. Like New York's a country in its own. It's its own world. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those places. That's why they came up with the expression: "If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere."
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's its own little entity, its own world. So I wear the hat with pride. You know what I mean. When they say New York king of comedy. That's to sneeze. I wear that with pride. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's kick it off with the actually we can kind of go into kind of maybe the entertainment industry, and we're gonna touch into the maybe. I know right now a lot of.
What's in your cup? I didn't know I was supposed to have a drink. What's in your cup?
Well, this is simple green tea right now. It's 90 degrees in New York right now.
Yeah.
So I got my green tea. Yeah, I'm doing the hydration thing until the sun go down. Give me till about 7. And I'll be on that Casamigos.
Yeah. Maybe like a quick introduction. Corey, maybe you can jump in, kind of just introduce yourself, like who are you, your background, and what you do before we jump in, kind of. Yes.
Absolutely, man. Easiest part of my job. Hey, so my name's Corey Brim. I own a company called Sugar Rim Bar. What's even crazy is Talent. We just did the comedy show with you at the Harbor, man, National Harbor.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I'm not saying it because he on here, but brother killed it. I mean, I don't even think it was written material. I think you were just going off the dome of that joint, man.
I don't even know what I was saying. Every moment's a moment, man. You know what I mean? This is what the number one jewel, and this is your boy Talent, New York king of comedy, Mr. It's Just Comedy, straight out of Money Earned in Mount Vernon. The difference between a comedian and a comic to me is a comic is the equivalent to driving a stick shift versus an automatic car. A comic is all written right there. You put it in one gear, one go forward, backward, stop, neutral. When you drive a stick shift, there's gears, and depending on the roads, you got to shift up and down in those gears to get a smooth flow of driving, and that's a comedian. A comedian, is more of a calling for us. We work off of 90% natural ability, 10% jokes, where it's vice versa for a comic. A comic works off of 90% jokes, and probably if he's lucky, he has 10% versatility and improvisational skills. You know what I mean?
Right. So the company I own, we do about 20 events a week. We do great things like that. Ed and I we have a history, man. We go back 10 plus years or whatever. Ed was doing these crazy dope shows too. I don't know. So what's the new word now? Is it niche or niche? Because I hear everybody say niche, right? So the niche thing now is the whole thing of what I do is the mobility of it. I don't own brick and mortar, and I don't think I'm not gonna say never, but the whole thing of what I do is the mobility. So we're able to bring the bar, the table, the lights, the furniture. I got trucks, so we back the trucks up, unload everything, set it all up.
Right.
The client needs. Yep, and then at the end of the joint, we pack it all up and roll back out. So I have virtually no overhead other than my operating expenses.
Right.
No overhead. I saw in the pandemic, people were losing it, man. They were losing restaurants, clubs, because they had to make that 20 grand every month and it wasn't coming through the door. So,
yeah.
So quick question. I know you guys just did a show that I did not know, or the national album.
It was no green cards allowed. Yeah, sorry, man.
No, I invited Ed. Ed. You forget?
Probably
I sent you a text.
You sent me a text. You know what? You're right.
Ed is, right. You know how we outside? Ed is not coming outside, bro. He's not coming outside. Ed does not do outside.
He's scared?
I don't know.
Man, I'll be coming out, but it's like with this pandemic and all that. I try.
Oh, come on, African. Listen,
I know.
You beat Ebola, nigga. You scared? How the hell you beat Ebola, malaria, all the heavy duty African joint? Then you get to America and go, yo, the pandemic. It's a new strain. Man, please.
He is not coming outside, bro. Ed does not come out, man. He's straight. He Uber Eats, Instacart. He getting everything delivered. He Amazon Prime. He got Amazon Prime. He getting everything delivered to the house, man. He's not coming out.
Man.
That's fortified.
I know, man. I'm trying to stay away from, but yes, definitely. Like, I gotta come out, man. And of course, you have another show coming up in New York. I gotta come out. Not to go into too much detail to figure who I'm coming to the show with. But let's jump in talent. Like you've been doing comedy for a minute now. You're like one of the so like let's say someone maybe they might say, oh, I don't know who this guy is, but if you're the person.
Ed, where's the first time you probably think you remember seeing talent? Like the first time. What do you think?
Oh, talent?
Yeah.
First time I saw him on BET Comic View. And then from there, I saw him at the I can't remember the comedy club in New York, but then I ended up doing a show with him in DC. That was like, man, that was a minute. That's been a long time.
Right?
That's over a decade ago, right?
Hey, what's that show he used to do? He used to be on the joint. It was like, I don't know what the show was called, but it was funny as hell. They were doing like the Dustins. It was you and Tracy was on that joint.
I see him. Yeah, that's the thing. It was
Monique was on there.
Metro Comedy Presents. So that's when we did the show in DC. It was him and Shang. I brought
no. Ed, I'm talking about like, dude. I'm talking like.
You're talking about HBO Snaps. HBO Snaps.
Like 20, 30 years ago.
Oh, you talking about okay.
He was only 5'5" then. He wasn't 6'6". He was 5'5"
then. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like he was for like 30 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean comedians still going 30 years?
I got 31 exactly this month. But yeah, that was HBO Snaps. And God Bless the Dead. There was a guy, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a TV show called the Uptown Comedy Club.
Yeah.
TV show. And it was out of Harlem. It was a regular club. And then they got a show on Fox. And the host of that show in that club, his name was Monteria Ivy. There was a component in that club at the end of every episode, they would do a quick snap battle. And the show would go off to a snap battle. And the reigning champ, the good thing about that show is if you won, you air the next week again. So you got a lot of airtime if you could keep winning, and we kept winning. So when that show folded and Monteria went on to a different deal, he got a deal to write Snaps books. Then he got a record deal to do Snaps, the album, 2 of those. And then he got the HBO deal to do two half-hour specials. And we did the first one. Like he said, my girl Monique was on there, Tracy Morgan, Ricky Smiley, Michael Black, Ray. It was a host of the late great Jimmy Mack, who died in a car accident with Tracy Morgan. All of us was on his shows, And those things took off. To this day, it's surfaced in the last few years and went viral. So now like 10, 20 million views of people who didn't grow up on it and now seeing it like, oh my God, what is this? You know, because it's vintage comedy. It was a great show. HBO Snaps.
Yeah, and dude, hey, and it was Tracy Morgan. Like he ain't the Tracy Morgan that you see on NBC right now.
Nah, the straight gutter.
Yeah,
Had the propeller hat. He had the beer belly drinking soda. How you drink soda? Get a beer belly. I drink beer. I earned my belly.
So, question in terms of, I know, so you know, any like I was about to say, like for other people might not know who's talent, but any heavy hitters. Like you can go head to head with any top comedian from Chris Rock to Dave Chappelle to Bill Burr, whatever. You're not like scared even if like they go first, and then you're worried about like, oh man, I'm gonna bump because you got your stuff over the same. So the only thing I'm trying to figure is like, what is it that's missing to just? I mean, you're there. It's like I'm like. Talent is the same as, you know, Chris Rock.
There's nothing missing. Here's what you got to understand. Like in any sport or any arena, everybody has their own agenda. Talent never was trying to be a movie star. Talent was never trying to be the sitcom star, TV star. Talent was always trying to be the best motherfucker on stage. Like you can't hold my water. Like that's been my goal from day one. That continues to be my goal every day I do comedy. And I've achieved my goal within maybe less than 5-6 years of doing it. I got to that level of funny. And now for the next 25, 26 years, you chase to sustain that level. So here we are 31 years later, and I'm still that guy. The reason you know you make it is not so much I need 20 movies, or I need the white girls in Arizona to know me, all that. When your goal is my goal, all you need is for everybody who is considered to be at the top to understand who I am and respect who I am. Yeah. I don't care if you're in a room with Damon Wayans, Cat Williams, Kevin Hart, you say my name.
They know who it is.
They know what it is. Yeah. That's all I needed. That's now everything else is sustaining that. So I'm ready to stop. Yeah. So I achieved my goal by being that guy. It's like the Michael Prince effect. Prince never had the accolades of a Michael Jackson, but he overtowered him in talent. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, the people that really know musicians and music, people, excuse me, the people that really know, they know pound for pound, talent-wise, Prince got it. He got everybody. You know, behind James Brown, boom, Prince. But the accolades and all those things that came and hitting the ceiling and can't get no bigger, that's Michael Jackson. And I'm not saying that you can't take nothing from him. He earned that. But that was his goal. That was never Prince's goal. Prince's goal was not Michael Jackson's goal. His goal was to wreak havoc on his genre of entertainment and dare you to challenge him and say somebody's better than him. And that's talent.
Yeah, but you know, there'll never be another Michael Joseph Jackson. There'll never be another Prince Rogers. There'll never be another Talon Harris. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah, you create your own lanes and you own those lanes. Like I said, any room you find yourself in with people who other people deem as the greatest. Like a lot of people, I think Chappelle's the GOAT. Okay, that's your opinion. I can't fight your opinion. You feel who you feel. To me, Dave Chappelle's an acquired taste. Funny as hell. Can't take that from him. Genius. Can't take that from him. But I understand those people who say, he's not my favorite. I get it. Because in his comedy, sometimes he gets deep. And sometimes the point is bigger and longer than the funny. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I understand a comedy fan, whichever direction they pick to go in that. But if you're in a room with Chappelle and you say talent, guess what?
Yeah. You know who talent is.
Yeah. You and it's funny too. Like, let's say if you guys are doing like an open mic, not just a show. Like, let's say you're doing an open mic somewhere. Actually, if you're sitting around with like Dave or Chris and they're about to jump on stage as the open mic, probably they're gonna be like, "Yo, dude, can I go first? Or you want to go first?" Like, really, they will have that kind of respect, kind of like, "Yo, you want to go first, or you want to, in
Right.
terms of
Well,
just
I'll probably go first because for only one reason, not because of funny, because a lot of these Negroes are long-winded. I've been raised in the comedy game to respect the overall show. That's why people consider me. I've been voted the best host in comedy for 20 years, and that's only because I respect the entire show. I don't need to do an hour on a show where there's 10 people for you to leave trying to earn your accolade of funny to say, oh, Talent was the funniest dude. I can do that with 10 minutes. I don't need the hour. So to me, in a perfect show, I know when the audience gets tired. I know when we kept them what we call comedy hostage too long and blah, blah, blah. So I'm in my mind, I already played the show out. I time it. I know what everybody needs to do. Hey, man, don't do 15. Yo, do 20. Do blah, blah, blah. I don't need all 10 of y'all going up there trying to do 45 an hour, because by the time you get to the last 3-4 guys, they're going to get no love. Share the love. The room is full of energy, love. We know for a fact that in a comedy show, we got about a 2 to a 2.5 hour window where the crowd remains what we call juicy. After 2.5, when you stretch it to 3 or take the long intermissions, do all that, I feel for the last guys because they got to work that much harder, and it's still as hard as they work. Not that they're not funny. The response, because of the energy, may seem mediocre because the audience been there for 3 hours.
What's a secret for open mic? How many people should be enough for an open mic? Maybe let's do this. Two questions. For the open mic, how much do you think is enough to have this comedian before the audience get tired? Like this will be a perfect number. And also for a really show, how many people should be on a really show?
Well, the open mic, I tell you this, if the open mic doesn't come down to the amount of people, it comes down to the amount of time you allot to people. Okay. So I can do 15 people if they're doing 6-minute spots. If they're sticking to 5-6 minutes, not really do the numbers. 5 minutes, 15 times. What do we got? You know what I mean? Because 10 of them at 5 minutes is less than an hour, 50 minutes. Yeah. So we're talking about an hour and a half.
That's how we negotiate with these women. Like, look, you're gonna get 5 or 10 minutes. You get
That's not
57
that
strokes, baby. Then you give them for 5 minutes, you give them for 2 hours. There's only 57 strokes.
Yeah, so I mean, it's about the time allotted. Now, when you talk about a comedy show, that comes down to whoever that headline and act is. You got to respect the headline. So let's say you hire me, Ed, and you go, yo, T, I want you to do an hour tonight. Okay, so respect that hour. It should be no more than 30 minutes of show in front of me. 40 tops. If I got to do an hour, you know what I mean? But you can't do an hour and a half of show in front of me and then go to do an hour. Now we back up to that 2.5. Now towards the end of my thing, you're gonna start to see the slumping in the seat and the look at the watch and where the bathroom, and your audience is distracted because in their mind they're thinking of what that next thing is to go to, whether it's a club to party, whether it's home to the bed, whether it's to pick the kids up. You never want. My thing is always leave them more. What I've been doing as the last about 10 years, I came up with a great remedy. Because I'm talented, there's good things that come with that and there's bad things. The bad thing is my reputation sometimes precedes me. Not sometimes, all the time. So depending on the towns and cities I play, if they have a comedy life in those towns, they want to test themselves, if you will, against me to see how funny they are. And that's cool as long as it's done in the parameters. But sometimes they put too many people in front of you. They throw the whole kitchen sink. We're going to throw the kitchen sink and dare you to still be funny after all that, right? Okay, cool. I give you about 4 people because it's really supposed to be 2. I give you 4 in front of me, right? Anything after that 4, now you're disrespecting and infringing on my time. So what I'll do is, if somebody go, oh, I got my man, I didn't know he's coming. He want to do 10 too. I said, okay, that's 10 minutes off of my time I'm not doing.
Right.
I'll let you do that as much as you want. But remember, you chopping down what I'm going to do at that point. Yeah. I gave you 4. Number 5 walk in, he just wants 10 minutes. Cool. I'm doing 50 minutes. Number 4, 10 minutes. Okay, I'm doing 40 minutes. And each time you do that, you might end up telling him to do 20 minutes. You know, paid all that money, get me to town, got me to do it, and only got 20 minutes.
You got your mind frame before you can step out there. Like, they getting 30, so we give them the 30-minute set.
Mhm.
I see. So the way I never thought about that too. Like so the way you do is like, listen, if I'm coming, you hired me for 1 hour. I'm doing 1 hour. We're doing like a show, and you're gonna put one person in front, so that's 1 hour and a half. But as soon as you start adding people, chopping that time, this show is 1 hour and a half. I don't care if you put 10 people in front of me,
Right.
and you leave me with 10
You still
minutes.
get
That's
paid
the
for the
10
hour.
minutes I'm doing.
Right, exactly. Because you have to think, you have to look at it like this. I know a lot of promoters never look at it like this. Promoters look at it like what they want to do and what they got in mind. At this stage of the game,
Yeah.
I'm a brand, I'm a walking brand. It's just comedy is the number one brand in comedy. You know, from merchandising to everything. It's been around 30 years. It's
Do you
it
know?
ain't going away.
Do you know
You
what
see
you
that?
needed? You know what you needed? You needed to give that to Chris Rock for the Oscar, so Will can read. It's just comedy, buddy.
But I mean, you're right. But I mean, here's the thing. Like, so at this point, when I get to a place, I got to protect my brand.
Mm.
And one thing you're never going to do, and I said this 31 years ago, and to this day, it's always held true because I really think what I do. I eat, sleep, and drink this comedy thing. You're never going to walk away from a bad talent show if I can help it. So, and I don't care. I can't let the promoter diminish the brand or the circumstances put me in a predicament because the people don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They
Right.
just know the thing they seen.
Yeah.
So I don't ever want them leaving like, damn, Talon was usually he's funny. It wasn't whatever tonight. They don't know that you drugged me in the back like Bill Cosby. They don't know that you put all these people up there. They don't know that my money was short. They don't know I had to wait for the liquor to get home and get a Heineken or whatever. They don't know. They don't know behind the
They
scenes.
pay. They
Get
pay
deep.
the fee. Yep.
All they know is when you came out there,
Yep.
you was whatever. You know how many times I see a comedian take their woes and feelings on stage? Look at Monique the last time with Dia.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, look how Monique. So
Look
Monique brought that
You have
stuff
a beat backstage. The crowd does not know about this.
Yep.
Why would you use your valuable time
To do
to go on stage and do 15, 20, whatever it is, talking about that? DL's the constant professional. You know what he did? He went out there did the set he had prepared.
Right.
Chris Rock, he got the shit smacked out of him. You know what he did? He went on tour and did the set he prepared.
Yep.
He didn't change up. Oh, y'all see what happened? But he's a constant professional. This is what separates people from other people.
Yeah, but the world's kind of different when you get like $10 million to make a film. Like, I ain't really tripping off a lot of stuff even if I'm making get that Chris Rock money.
That's true. I mean, but see, here's the thing. Again, I'm different in that aspect where you make these promises to yourself and you try to remember them along the ride. I've been a millionaire, man, 4 times over since 97, maybe. Since 97, my first trip to the millionaire side of the street. Then again, 2003, trip to the millionaire side of the street. Then again, 2007, trip to the millionaire side of the street. I promised myself, bruh, do not get attached to these dollars. Do not be a slave to the money. Don't let it control you because you're going to become a different person. And here's the problem with that. Nothing's forever. So at the end of the day, when you have to see those people again that you spit on, shit on, turned your back on, ignored, blocked out, did all this ratchet stuff to, you got to see them again. And you need them.
Right.
Not just see them. God forbid you need them.
I read a comment online on it was one of those posts on Facebook. Was it Facebook or Instagram? It was a post about Monique used to be easy to work with until she got this new dude. Her husband is the bad influence in what all this stuff, all the problems she's having with all pride, Tara Perry, and everything. So I was like, whoa, that's a different angle.
Well, it started from the husband before this guy.
It started before.
It just got worse with this guy, but it started. Excuse me. It started with the husband prior to this guy. The changes, right? And I half-ass get it because I had to tell myself something this week to remind myself of something. I'd say they still women, and no disrespect to them, they wired different. They're wired very emotional. Whether they can't help that part, that's God. God just made us who He is. So women are more emotional than us. So a lot of the stuff that we thug it out and get through, they need at some point, they feel better to get a guy to handle some of that stuff because they know how you're going to come at them or they feel a certain way by being a woman. Something simple like, you ever see a woman go buy a car? They call some dude and they like, their brother, their uncle, their father, can you come with me down here to get this car? Because they automatically already feel, they got a premonition that the car sales dude is going to treat them differently, take advantage of them because they're a woman. So it's the same thing in the industry. The first husband, the problem with Monique is these husbands before you, they know nothing about this work.
Right.
So you bring somebody, you know what I'm saying? Take a saltwater fish, put him in fresh water. He's going to die.
Yeah.
So you take these people that never been in this thing, you throw them in the fray and go run my business and handle this and speak for me. And it comes off a certain way with the malicious half the time. So that was the beginning of the change with her. Because I came up with Monique and we were like this. It was to the point when we were on a Def Comedy Jam tour, we had adjoining rooms the whole tour because, you know, she was a girl. And on the road, she felt a certain way. And you do what I trust you most out of it. I don't know these guys, which was true. We worked together a lot before the tour. So everybody else was kind of new to us on a regular basis. So she made sure we got to join the rooms and kept the door open so that nothing happened to her.
Talent.
Doesn't some of that go back to you had mentioned before about like branding though? Isn't that like part of your brand? Like the people that you bring on to the talent team, they have to understand that like they're part of a brand. It's bigger than just talent, the individual talent. There's a whole, like for you, for what I've seen, you know, I'm a fan first, like following for years. There's a whole production that goes on behind the scenes, like you know, the merch, the advertising, the production, the meetings. Like some people are just there just to be there, though, right?
Yeah, but not on my team. My team, everybody got something to do. And my team, everybody got something to do because you know what? Here's the difference in my team and most teams. Most teams are like any other company or corporation. They hire people. That's not how my business and my brand was built. My business and brand was built off of 90% volunteership. The only people that came with this thing was me, my business partner, Quincy, and, you know, I always had a road manager, so he automatically was in the mix, right? That's 3 males. As you fast forward, another 6, 7 females came on board gradually, and another 2 or 3 males came on gradually from different road managers and assistants and security guys and stuff like that. And those guys, I needed everybody. So let's say it got up to, I think I've had about 22 people part of the overall company, or I should say companies, because my method was, as I went along, I learned everything I needed. I learned what I needed, and I learned to own my own part of that. So I had an agency. I was with an agency or 2 agencies for a certain amount of years. I learned how they did everything, from the paperwork to the advancing of shows, to the travel, to the blah, blah, blah. And then I fired them and opened up my agency. I had management. I learned what the manager does, blah, blah, blah. And then I fired them and I opened up a management company. Same thing with the branding and the merchandise and all that. See, now I was lucky because we promoted ski trips for 25, 30 years.
Oh, you still do that stuff?
Yeah, we still do that. Ski trips and crab feasts and getaways to the islands and all that. So these getaways were 3 to 6 days in a clump of time. So they had on-the-job training. They didn't have to wait for individual shows to learn how to do it. You go with me for a trip to Jamaica, or you go to a ski trip for 3 days, and we put our system in place and rotate hours and when we working and when we playing and when we drinking, when we partying and when we doing the shows and all that. So in a couple of years' time, these ladies come out of nowhere, and it was like, yo, I like not only what y'all guys are putting together and throwing, you got quality this, quality that. How can I help? And I was like, word. But do me a favor. We got the merch table. Can you put some time in over it? No problem. We got to hand out these itineraries. Can you go door to door? Can you call every room? Get a wake up call? The trips. And next thing you know, I got 15 people working under the brand. So everybody got something to do, for one, and for two, I think when your foundation, it comes off not the dollar and hiring somebody, because you know how it is. When you go for a job, your concern is how much I make,
how much am I making,
what are my hours, what I can and can't do, as opposed to when people volunteer, they're a blank slate. They're a clean slate. Like, and you could paint on the canvas and make the picture what it is. And that's why I take pride in my people.
Yeah. So no, so I got into it. So I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. So I know talent. You do also. I know you have you promote your own events like in upstate, and I think one time we ran into each other almost like I was doing a show in, I think it was in Syracuse or somewhere over there. It was somewhere, and then you were like going there like a week later. You still have all this room you're doing over there, right?
Yeah, we still have our regular rooms. We have 2 in Florida. We have 1 in Harrisburg, PA. We have several in Jersey, several in New York, Tampa, Florida as well. And what you're talking about is our upstate markets that we've been controlling for a while.
Yeah.
Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo.
Yes, I think it was both Syracuse and Rochester.
Yeah.
I was trying to do a show over there, and I was like, "Hey, let's do a show." He'd be like, "I have rooms over there." I was like, "Oh, never mind."
Yeah, those are my spots. Due to Rochester, the history is, again, like all my stuff is connected by some form of fashion around a reason. Rochester was the first comedy club when I was with William Morris Agency, and I had never traveled and headlined an actual comedy club yet. And I was about maybe 2.5, maybe 3 years in comedy. And there was a comedy club in Rochester. So the agent said, well, we're going to book you a weekend at, I forget, Hiccups, I think it was called, in Rochester. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. He said, 4 shows, 2 Friday, 2 Saturday, blah, 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 right? So now this white guy on this club has no idea who found this. He's just doing it because the agency I'm coming from, he got to do it, right? So I get up there, and I know who I am, and I know what I've done on Def Jam. So I'm like, I said, is there radio? They said, yeah. You get there, they got you slated for Friday morning, 6:30 a.m. radio. I said, oh, great. I'm going to sell this shit out because once people hear me on the radio, they know the voice and they know the it's just comedy and all that. And sure enough, I sell this thing out. I remember at the end of the weekend, white dudes in there counting the money and paying me. And he's like, bro, who are you? Like, he's like, I don't know who the hell you are, but apparently the neighborhood and the city know who the hell you are. I mean, they just start buying tickets to know it. And I was like, and I explained to them, Def Jam and blah, blah, blah. And I'm that guy. And in my early years, people didn't know my name. People focused on it's just comedy or they would do that. I see people in the street, they go, yo. Or we Heineken. They remember everything but my name. They're, where's your beer? They go, oh, you really want to necklace? Or everything. They'll say all of that. And then at the end of that, we laugh and they go, what's your name again? I go, Talent. So I was that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what happened was the radio up there loved me from that. And the guy, owner of the comedy club, struck a deal with me and said, how can I keep this thing going? He's like, people don't do numbers like this on the regular. I said, well, bro, there's a segment of entertainers down in the city in New York and New Jersey that I can bring there once a month. And we do 2 Friday, 2 Saturday. And we work out an overall budget. I pay people out of the budget. And you just give us, it was in a hotel, you just give us the rooms in there. People got somewhere to stay. We get ourselves up there. We're good. And we did that for the next 4 or 5 years straight. And the only reason it stopped is because we lost the new hotel ownership, took over, flipped the hotel, and kicked them out. The lease was up. But that was my relationship with Rochester. So for a long time, it's like everywhere I play, for some reason, people, when I frequent a place, people think I'm from there. So I just thought I was Rochester's own. Even when I hosted Manhattan Proper Queens dudes thought I was from Queens. When I hosted the Peppermint Lounge with Bob Sumner in Jersey, people thought I was from Newark or East Orange in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Like when you somewhere on the regular and you're relatable at that level, people just think you're one of them.
Shout out to Marquise Thomas.
Marquise. That's the homie right there.
Yeah, that's a good dude, man.
We got a brunch coming this Sunday. We do a brunch and his spot, South Valley Barbecue Lounge. So he does comedy on Thursday every night there, and me and him every month we put together a Sunday where we do like a 2 o'clock brunch type thing.
Okay.
I know you probably get this all the time, and like I said, me being a fan, like, did you know? I mean, I know you know, but did you know? Did you always know that like you were going to do this? Were you just naturally funny, and did you just walk right into it, or like how did it happen for you? Like, what was the beginning? Because like,
yeah, I knew as a kid. I knew as a kid that I was going to do this. I felt it it was real heavy of a call. The only thing as a kid,
after he found that he could not play basketball, he couldn't dunk.
oh no, my game was nice. The problem is, I knew what it took to go to the next level in basketball, and I was too lazy for that shit. I'm not getting up like Rod Strickland said. Rod was like, man, his boys said to bust in his dorm room and throw buckets of water, ice water on him to get him up to go to practice. That would be me. I'm not going to practice. I'm the party guy. I like to enjoy life. I realize how short life is, so I'm enjoying it. I'm not drills and shit every day for a living. When I can hold a Heineken and make the same money, sure. So, I knew I was going to do it, but put it this way: as a kid, I didn't understand it was an occupation. First of all, I thought it was a hobby.
right?
So, and I also thought it was an older man's game because I looked at all the stuff that we had to look at when it comes to stand up. At first, was the Richard Pryors, the Flip Wilsons, the Cosby. Everybody looked older to us. There was no young dudes doing it until the 90s. Def Jam changed everything. When Def Jam came and showed us all these young, cool hip hop heads taking the stage, these guys was barely 20,
Right.
20, 25, 27. And I was like, oh, that changed everything. Like, I got to do this sooner than later now. And then I'm still thinking hobby until I start hitting the rooms and working out. And one day a guy put $15 in my hand. Changed my life. I said, yo.
You're like, this is it. Yep.
To do that.
Yeah. Question. In the comedy, I feel like comedy is one of those professions, like people will just name themselves, oh, I'm a comedian. It's not like, hey, I'm a teacher or I'm a doctor or whatever. So like literally, should they be like maybe some class? Like you'd be like, hey, are you a comedian or are you just an open micer?
A certification?
When you reach the stage where you'd be like, you know what? Now you're a comedian, either because you're touring or you're doing spatial, you're on TV, whatever. Like, should there be like a level? Because you got some people here calling them comedian, but they're not really comedians.
Yeah, but I remember I broke this down a few minutes ago about a comic and a comedian, right? Yeah. So here's the thing. Comedy is no different than anything else. People could call themselves whatever the hell they want to call themselves. You know the reality. You know when you go home by yourself and close the door and it's just you and cut the light on and take a shower and take a shit. You know you ain't a comedian. So we could call, I know dudes that like, yeah, I'm a drug kingpin. You go home and empty your pockets and you got 2 bags of weed. You know you ain't. You left the house with 3. You came in with 2. You're not a kingpin, sir. So people do that really every day. All jokes aside, people do that in everyday life. Like people without degrees, but they're handy. They call themselves construction workers. You know what I mean? People get a car. You know how many people? Oh, I'm a driver. Look at Uber. I'm a driver. It's a regular person picking people up, man. You may take one course. It ain't on you.
People like turn left if you work for yourself.
Exactly. Like, come on, man. So we live in that day and age where unfortunately, America has addicted us to labels, and it hurts American way of life in more ways than one. You know, that's why our women we date be on our backs about they want a label. What are we?
Yeah.
Right. How many times you date a woman? You got a little bit of time before that one dinner or that one movie all out. She go, what are we?
Where are we going with this?
What are we doing? I'm the wrong person to ask. Every woman that's ever asked me, what are we doing? I said, we boning.
We boning.
We bone from time to time. I appreciate the boning. I buy you food sometime. I don't let you go without because the sex is good, but we boning. What more label you want on that But that's where we are in America. We feel like we got to label everything. So when people leave the house and they do anything, they're going to give themselves a label. Comedy is no exception to that rule. So any dude that try it or go to open mic, they're going to tell the next person, not necessarily the people in that room, because they might have bombed, right? And everybody there knows you're new and trying it out. But they go to somewhere else, they're going to go get them.
So look, I am not a comedian, not trying to be one, whatever. But from the outside looking in, to me, comedy is one of those things that has comedy opened doors for you that you know that probably wouldn't have been opened if you weren't a comedian. Like I think comedy does that, right? You're in rooms and situations that
if you're funny, right?
If you're funny, you're right.
Like yeah, absolutely. If you're funny, it's definitely. I look at the world now, and I go, wow, look at the tentacles on comedy. Look at the branches on the comedy tree. Like they need comedy in everything now. Every form of entertainment. When rappers go in the studio, they call a comic to do the skits. When the award shows come on, 9 times out of 10, they're looking for a comic or comedic actress to host the awards. Every radio morning show needs some form of comedic relief in there or a comic part of the morning show. They make more comedy movies than any genre of movies. Like, so comedy has so many branches where you can go. And I didn't even touch on writing and directing and producing. I just did the superficial few things in front of your face. So it's so many tentacles that reach out to things, or branches, if you will, from the comedy tree. So yeah, hell yeah, you've seen and continue to this day is things that you do, and you only got it because you're blessed in comedy. People know who you are. So people call me with the most random thing. I got called one, and some of the stuff you turned down, shocking. Right. As much as I love dogs, I got called to host that dog, that big dog competition, the big one, the
Westminster Dog Show.
Yeah, when you come down and commentate, I was like, hell no.
Do they know who they call? They
know I know dogs, and they trying to add comedy to it. But
you would be ripping every dog apart in that joint.
First of all, it's gonna be some dog fights.
What
dogs hearing you, they know you talk about.
You want to say that's the weirdest thing you ever booked to do a comedy show?
What was weird? It gets weird. It gets weird. Like sometimes people want you to do funerals. I only did Biz Markie. I'll be honest with you. After I did Biz Markie, the phone rang like crazy. Every rapper or artist that passed, yo, can you? I'm on the road, bro. I'm working. Even if I wasn't, I don't like funerals. I don't like my family funeral. That's my weakness. Funerals are my weakness in hospitals. For some reason, I just it pulls from me and it really hits me.
There's a different energy.
A real weird negative thing. Like it humbles you to no end. First of all, and then but in a negative way. So Biz Markie was a friend, and he was a comedian in his own right, and his wife knew that. And reaching out to me like, I want to send him off the way that people close to him know. Biz was a clown. He was funny. Yeah. And that's why we did that. But you get weird requests all the time. Baby showers. I just said to somebody last week, hey, man, it was at a show. And it was, oh, my God, it's so fun. How much, man, you do? I said, oh, what? Give me the details. Yeah, I got a big house. I'm going to be back in the house, barbecue. I said, yeah, I don't really do
that. Here's a funny one time. Sorry to cut you off. The weirdest thing when I was still kind of trying to like travel doing the comedy, I got booked to a wedding. They wanted me to come out. As soon as they say I do, and then I pop up like a gay guy. Like no, like no, you did.
Yeah, I know you was like nah, yo.
Dude, they were giving me like literally. It was like a 10 minutes job for $4,500, and I was like, damn.
Hey, that might be the one. That's why you ain't crossed over, Ed. You gotta wear the dress, man. You gotta put the dress on, man. Hollywood
I was like, there are a lot of gay comedians. Just why don't you hire them directly? Then kind of just, but it was just kind of like. Plus, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not.
There's no fun in that, man. The fun is getting you straight dudes to put the dress on. There's no fun. Like America is all about power. How am I going to power trip? If I get a cross dresser to throw a dress on, that's what he does anyway. He's going to do that Saturday at 11 o'clock anyway. But if I get this hard-nosed rapper, 50 Cent, to throw on this tutu,
then it become fun.
now I'm doing something.
Hey, look, your man just said it. And they want you adding. They want gay African king, man. Like you got to take you. They got that whole Black Panther. They got to take that down, man. They got the Black Panther image, man. You gonna be like the Black Cougar. You gonna be the Black Cougar. You take down the Black Panther.
You always said they want the African gay king.
Yeah, the Black Jaguar. You're gonna be the Black Jaguar.
Yeah, come up off that.
Yeah, man, it's funny, man. Like, yeah.
Hey, but look, but Tommy, comedy also. The other thing that I know about comedy is, like, when you think back to like the most trendy things that ever happened, right? 9/11, or these things that are happening in American society. Comedy is the first thing that allows people to have that release, like the pandemic or whatever's going on in the world. If the whole world shut down, isn't comedy like the first thing that like comedians start talking about? That kind of allows the rest of the world to kind of like, it's okay to talk about this. It's okay to, like, the whole Me Too movement or whatever. Like, whatever heavy subject is going on, if a comedian brings it out and says, okay, look, we're gonna bring this to the floor, we're gonna talk about this. The comedians do that.
We become, society has forced us into the forefront of becoming the ultimate voice. It used to be politicians, it used to be preachers, and over the years, the trust has gone away from the churches. The trust definitely gone away from the politicians. And now we're in the forefront of the freedom voice. So that's why I also tell comics that I kind of lose respect if you taper your shit for what they call political correctness in this new society, and you're scared to touch on certain things or say certain words because they told you shouldn't. You're not a real comedian. That's another difference in a comedian and a comic. A comedian has a duty to this. So you can't tell me I can't say retarded no more because I'm gonna say it. Yeah. You can't tell me I can't say fag no more because I'm gonna find a way to say it. You can't tell me I can't say what's retarded, fag, midget. All of these things that I'm not supposed to say, I'm gonna find a creative, genius, comedic way to say it and still evoke laughter. And by the time you laugh and realize you laughed at this inappropriate shit, it's too late.
Do you think maybe people a lot of the time, like in the media, when you get someone they are shooting to get canceled, like to get them canceled, a lot of the time I feel like these people are not even the fans of that people. Like they said, like a New York Times will put like a whole story, and that person who wrote the story is not even they never even seen that comedian. Like let's say Dave Chappelle, they never even been to a Dave Chappelle show or someone like that. Right?
Exactly. That happens all the time, and that's the problem with social media.
So it's like
everything's numbers. See, this is the problem. Social media is the social version of what corporate does. Corporate, you're just a number. Let's say all of us work at IBM. We're just numbers on paper. Like they don't care about Ed's life personally and what goes on in his house. They don't care what I do when I clock out. Blah blah blah. They care about you being a number on their payroll, doing the thing they need you to do. So social media is that. So when you look at somebody, oh, he got 1 million followers. Oh, he got 200,000 followers. Blah, blah, blah. Those people are not what you think. Like on Facebook, they call them friends. And you really start to believe, these people that really love social media, they believe that these are friends. And they're not necessarily friends. 1,000 of them people could just be trollers.
Yeah.
Waiting for you to slip up. And put your shit out to go viral. Look what he said. Look what he posted. You know what I mean? So we have to. That's the problem with the new day and age. The people that's stuck in social media world can't differentiate the real from just the number. So that's the corporate version of social media. It's the same thing. So like to me, that's why I love the organic thing. I take my little 50,000 over here, my little 40,000 over here, my little maxed out 10 pages of Facebook. I take them and I live them and I love with them because 90% of them I can reach out and they're real organic fans and people of the culture, as opposed to just a number on the page.
But it's also got to be a thing where, like, let's say somebody said talent offended me. people that know you would be like, you went to a talent show and got offended. Like, what was you doing in the audience? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's like saying, like, I went to Rudy Ray Moore the other night and he offended me. Like, you went to a Dolomite thing and got offended. Like, did you know where you were going?
You know you went to see Dolomite. Like, what you thought you was going to see? Like, but here's my thing, and it may sound harsh to some people, but you know, we had a long conversation at the King's Theater Saturday backstage with all the comics. And Golden Court, Kim Coles, Carl Payne, John Hinton, and Don Curry, and all of them. And I'm like, and we're talking about comics because Carl Payne ran a joke by me. He was like, I want to sell this joke. It's new though. And I don't know if it's too soon or what. I said, bro, you got to do it. You just got to, all you can do is throw it out there. The audience will give you a reaction and it'll let you know where you stand with that joke going forward. You can't really worry about tonight. Tonight is a test going forward. So I said, so he did the joke, and it was like a Roe v. Wade joke. So it is kind of soon, right? When people are all up in the uproar on abortion rights and all that. And it wasn't bad. I would say if I had to get 60% of the room got the joke and left. You might have 40% that was in their feelings or whatever. But I said, bro, that's what comedy is. Really, if you say something, if you don't offend somebody, you're not really doing it. You have to offend somebody. It's a tricky game. You want to be aligned in agreement with 80, 90 percentile of your audience, and that little 10%, somebody's supposed to be offended. And it ain't even your fault. It could be, you can't control people's life. So, perfect example, my Harrisburg last show, Don C. Curry has this bit. It's such a profound, dope-ass bit about, all of these shootings and the cops killing the blacks, but the way he breaks it down in detail is great, and he finds humor in it somehow, some way. And there was a young lady in the audience that just hearing it brought back a memory of her mom, who was white, who dad was black, and they were out somewhere and an incident happened, and the white cops did something to the father. So it brought that back to her and brought her to tears. And she's like, no, I'm not offended by it. It just brought back a memory of whatever the case may be. But the guy, club manager, was, oh man, maybe he got too deep. He shouldn't have went. Years, bro. Is that man's POV of whatever he's going through, whatever he's seen out here in the local society? I said, he didn't offend her. She told you herself. She just went to a place on her own. And that's what comedy is.
Yeah. We live in a world now with like that thing where like, like, oh, my son can't eat peanut butter. So like the whole school can't eat peanut butter now because your one son allergic.
They did that on the plane. You ever been on a plane? Yeah, we're not gonna serve peanuts. Somebody got an allergy. Get that nigga off.
Question. I have 3 questions before we go. One, which comedian you will never work with?
Damn.
Whatever reason. Yeah.
TK Kirkland. What else?
Yeah.
He said
TK Kirkland. Keep going.
TK?
Yeah.
Okay, TK Kirkland.
TK got soft in his old age. Go ahead.
We're not gonna be part of this beef.
It's not even a beef. It's just a fact. Like, okay, let me elaborate. He's at a place right now. TK is a funny guy. People love TK, but TK is at a place right now that he's clipping the wings of people on the show with it, and I don't respect that. So, like, if you got 2 other comedians you want to open up on that show, TK is going to get their phone number, call them, or have a meeting, and say, listen, you can't talk about this, can't talk about that, can't talk about this, can't talk about that, and that's whack to me.
Wow.
A true headliner do not clip the wings of the opening acts. You let them dudes shine and grow like somebody let you shine and grow many, many years ago. Well, go ahead. Next question. I'm sorry.
Gigi said, don't answer that. She was trying to protect you now.
Hey, that was about to be a whole other hour right there, man. He was about to go in.
Second question. Who would you pick, like white comedian to go on a tour with? Who would you pick a white comedian to go on a tour with?
Oh, Bill Burr.
Bill Burr. Okay.
Bill Burr. I started with Bill Burr, and I'll go back to Bill Burr.
Okay.
Bill Burr started my opening act. He was my opening act at all the comedy clubs, Caroline's and everything. And he's only gotten funnier over the years, if that was even possible, but he did. And number 1 pick choice in the world.
Yeah. Okay. Bill Burr. Another question. I forgot the third one. You
I'm
go
about
ahead,
to say
Corey.
you ain't had 3.
You see what I got to deal with? You see what I got to deal with? You see what I got to deal with?
He did like this. He said, "In the next one."
I had to sound like I had
Did
another
you write
question.
this shit on the roof? Who was what cartoons? Can't read his own handwriting. What cartoon?
I know, man. So it was. I know it was who you would never do. Who would be the comedian you would love to do a tour with? A comedian, and dang it.
We'll do it in overdrive, man. We'll do it in the Headliners Live Overdrive, the after show.
I know, right?
Well, I gotta go anyway. I gotta go to my sports show.
Yeah.
But yeah, anytime we can always do a part 2 because there's so much to talk about. You know what I mean?
Have you ever heard of someone asking? Have you ever heard of Buddy Hackett?
Yeah, I like Buddy Hackett.
Oh, you like Buddy Hackett?
Buddy
All right,
Hackett's a classic comedian, one of the vets. You know, it ain't a lot of comedians that I don't like because I respect everybody's craft. I may not like the way people go about certain things, like the whole TK thing, but it's not that I don't like the person. I just think that this is a game that somebody had to line us up.
Love you too, Gigi.
You know what I mean? Somebody had to line us up. So I hate when somebody get in a position and you won't pay it forward. Like the buck stops there. That's against the rules. You can't do that. Somebody helped us, so we got to help people.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom, before we go, just real quick, you got to also stay up on like current events. Like, what is your day? Are you consuming like everything? Are you getting information? Like, you got to be on top of this stuff, right? Like,
yeah, but you know what it is, man? It's everything ain't worth talking about. Everything ain't worth it. Like, so I don't talk about everything because to me it might not be worth it to me. Like, but there are things that we strike us a certain way or we can't get around, and we try to find the funny in. But every little thing, I'm not really messing with it. Like, you know, I see a lot of comedians struggling trying to come up with the funny about January 6th and the Capitol. See, how much are you doing that? You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's cool, but I go for the big laugh. So if it ain't in my brain striking me to go bubble up to that, then I leave it for somebody else, man. But if it's something I'm like, oh, I could, so many things coming into my mind, that's when I attack it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys, man.
Listen, thank you so much for our guest talent, the comedian, Mr. New York, Kings of Comedy, and my co-host, Coley Brim. This was awesome, guys. And thank you so much for those who joined us, Lynn, Abiola, Gigi, Karen. And
yes, sir.
It was awesome, man. So shout out to you guys. Thank you.
We're gonna do a part 2, baby. We're gonna do a part 2.
Yes, definitely.
Man.
Give me a
sorry,
second.
I gotta go.
All right, guys.
Thanks, y'all.
Talk to you later. Bye. Talk to you later.